Marilyn Monroe is one of the most enduring icons in Hollywood history. But did you know Hollywood endlessly tried, and failed, to recreate her magic? Today, let's dive into the fascinating, and often dramatic, stories of 12 actresses groomed to replace Marilyn Monroe, and why none reached her legendary status. Marilyn Monroe's appeal was a complex mix of charm, vulnerability, and star power, which turned her into a symbol that has transcended decades. Yet, Hollywood studios saw her success and tried to package their own versions, hoping to capture the same lightning in a bottle. These attempts led to a parade of blonde bombshells, all echoing some aspect of Marilyn's persona, but none ever quite capturing the full essence. Each actress brought her own unique qualities, but faced obstacles ranging from typecasting and studio politics to personal tragedies and shifting public taste. Jane Mansfield, the blonde bombshell's bold challenger. Jane Mansfield's journey began with an intense desire to capture Marilyn Monroe's allure. Known for her daring publicity stunts, including a bikini mishap that stole the headlines, Mansfield embraced a hypersexual persona to gain attention. Despite a Golden Glow and even a Playboy feature, her career was marked by fierce studio battles, typecasting, and a tragic early death in a car accident. Mansfield's aggressive strategy brought her fame but never quite the lasting legend Monroe crafted. Initially, Mansfield expressed a genuine interest in arts, taking ballroom, violin, and piano lessons. However, Hollywood quickly steered her towards the blonde bombshell image. Myra Van Doren, the bad girl image. Van Doren carved out a niche as a rebellious wild child, often playing sultry, manipulative teenagers. Unlike other Monroe imitators, she avoided the dumb blonde route and aimed for more complexity. However, her career faltered with time, relegated to low-budget films before eventually fading away. Her autobiography offered rare insider insights, contrasting her tumultuous Hollywood journey with Monroe's glamorous legacy. Van Doren's unique approach to the bombshell image set her apart, but the industry and audience never fully embraced her as Monroe's successor. She embodied a slightly darker, edgier vibe, which was both a strength and a hindrance in an era craving the naive, innocent allure of Monroe. Though critics often praised her range and willingness to tackle varied roles, she never quite reached the superstardom expected of someone labeled the new Marilyn. Despite the setbacks, Van Doren's resilience in an unforgiving Hollywood climate was notable. She transitioned into television and stage with some success, emphasizing her capabilities beyond the blonde archetype. This shift highlighted the challenging expectations placed on actresses to mimic Monroe's persona exactly. Van Doren's story ultimately reveals the limits of Hollywood's manufactured fame. No matter how much an actress tried to fit the mold, capturing Monroe's singular magic was a feat few could accomplish. But Van Doren's legacy remains important, as a reminder of the varied faces behind the bombshell label, and the personal struggles hidden beneath the glitz and glamour. Sheree North, studio's replacement, failed to shine. During Marilyn Monroe's turbulent disputes with 20th Century Fox in the mid-1950s, the studio sought a fresh face to fill the void, signing young actress Sheree North to a 4-year contract, effectively positioning her as Monroe's intended replacement. North was swiftly tested for several roles that had originally been offered to Monroe, even receiving the privilege, or insult, of wearing some of Monroe's famed studio wardrobe, a gesture widely seen as a bold statement by the studio. Despite these high-profile attempts, North struggled to escape the long shadow of Monroe's iconic image, her performances criticized for lacking the spark that made Monroe unforgettable. The director of her film debut candidly described her as attractive but relatively untalented, highlighting the challenges she faced in stepping into Monroe's shoes. North's career was marked by moderate successes in films like The Best Things in Life Are Free and The Lieutenant wore skirts, yet she never attained the star power Fox hoped for. Frustrated by limited opportunities, North publicly expressed her disappointment, revealing the constraints imposed by studio politics and typecasting. Her candid remark that her voluptuous colleagues were just fat showed not only her candid nature but also the competitive tension among Monroe's would-be successors. By the late 1950s, 20th Century Fox had lost interest, shifting their focus to other blondes like Jane Mansfield, and North's contract was not renewed. Though she found steady work in television during the 1960s and returned to films in action roles in the 1970s, she never reclaimed the spotlight she was once promised. North's story is a striking example of Hollywood's relentless and often ruthless quest to manufacture new stars following Monroe's legacy, revealing the harsh realities behind the glitz and glamour of Tinseltown's golden age. Tuesday Weld, the teen sensation with a darker shade. Tuesday Weld started young, melding a rebellious teen persona with natural acting talent. Initially shunned the overt Monroe mimicry, she soon found her style was compared to Marilyn's breathy charm. Opting for more serious, low-budget roles over superstardom, Weld received critical acclaim, including Oscar and Golden Globe nods, but steered clear of the blonde bombshell spotlight. Her early career involved playing bad girls, tempting older men with her good looks. These roles added complexity to her image, setting her apart from the typical dumb blonde stereotype. However, this narrative seemed to carry over into the real world, with Weld being criticized for her romantic relationship with a much older man, causing controversy. At just 19, she was offered the title role in Stanley Kubrick's film Lolita, but declined, stating, "I didn't have to play it. I was Lolita." This choice showed her awareness of her image and career direction. Beyond the controversies, Weld demonstrated remarkable talent, earning acclaim for her serious dramatic parts. She turned down multiple blockbuster films, choosing instead to focus on roles that challenged her as an actress. This strategy worked well, leading to a Golden Globe nomination in 1972 for Play It As It Lays, and an Oscar nomination in 1977 for Looking for Mr. Goodbar. Despite stepping away from the blonde bombshell mold, Tuesday Weld remains a fascinating figure, embodying a darker, more complex shade of stardom that Hollywood rarely celebrates. Cleo Moore, the blonde noir star. Cleo Moore was styled as the studio's take on Monroe, but instead, she found her forte in film noir with a subtler, sultrier edge. Although clearly intended to compete with Marilyn Monroe, they instead marketed her as the blonde Rita Hayworth, who was also signed with the studio. With her strong features and subdued acting style, she wasn't a great fit for dumb blonde roles. So instead of going the comedy route, she became a regular fixture in film noir. By that point, the genre was starting to decline in popularity. So studios were funneling less money into those sorts of projects, which was bad luck for Moore, as she wound up being relegated to B-movie status. Although she was praised for these performances, she was unable to break into the mainstream. And after starring in nearly a dozen films with Columbia, she made the decision to retire from acting in 1957 following the release of her final movie, Hit and Run. Kim Novak, the red-haired Monroe variant. Kim Novak stunned audiences, sporting her red locks and captivating performances. Her role in Hitchcock's Vertigo established her as more than a pretty face, but despite box office success, injuries and personal struggles took their toll. Novak's story shows the challenges even established stars face when living in Monroe's shadow. Starting her career in the 1950s with Columbia Pictures, Novak quickly gained attention for her unique look and acting chops. Unlike the typical blonde bombshells of the era, she embraced her distinctive red hair and sultry appeal, carving a niche all her own. Vertigo remains her most iconic role, where she portrayed a mysterious woman with layers of complexity and vulnerability, a sharp departure from the usual dumb blonde stereotype. However, her career was not without hurdles. A devastating horse riding, Joy Lansing, the television staple. Joy Lansing began her Hollywood journey at a young age, working primarily as a contract player for MGM, where she was pressed into a rigorous training schedule that included etiquette lessons and completing high school on the studio lot, all designed to mold her into the ideal starlet. Despite this intense preparation, her early roles were mostly uncredited, and it wasn't until 1956 that she secured a leading part in the film Hot Cars, which unfortunately underperformed at the box office, dimming the prospects of her big breakthrough. Throughout her career, Lansing was often typecast as a glamorous blonde, a stereotype she found limiting. commenting on how her looks both helped and confined her opportunities. Transitioning into the 1960s, she found a steady niche in television, performing in a wide array of popular shows including The Adventures of Ozzie and Harriet, The Danny Thomas Show, and The Beverly Hillbillies, showcasing her versatility and charm. Her strong presence on television earned her a star on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, a testament to her enduring appeal in the entertainment industry. Tragically, Lansing's life was cut short when she died from complications related to breast cancer at the age of 43, but her impact on the small screen during Hollywood's golden era remains significant. She embodied the quintessential television blonde bombshell, captivating audiences week after week, and leaving a legacy of dedication and resilience in a rapidly evolving industry. Barbara Nichols, the charismatic showgirl. Barbara Nichols dazzled as a pin-up and showgirl before eventually making her way to Hollywood, where she gained attention for her flirtatious blonde characters. Her performances often combined charm with a biting edge, but at times she could come across as grating rather than captivating, reminiscent of a certain character in classic musicals. Like many stars of her era, Nichols' personal life was the subject of tabloid fascination, as her numerous suitors made headlines just as much as her film roles. Unfortunately, her promising ascent took a devastating hit in 1957, when a serious car accident caused multiple injuries including scarring, removal of her spleen, and damage to her liver. This incident forced her into a long recovery, stalling her career at a critical moment. Despite returning to acting with determination, Nichols was relegated mostly to supporting roles in comedies and sci-fi films throughout the 1960s. The blonde bombshell trend was fading, and suitable lead roles for her became scarce. Tragically, the health complications stemming from her accident worsened, and Nichols passed away at the young age of 47 due to liver failure. While she never achieved the iconic status of Marilyn Monroe, her vibrant personality and memorable screen presence left an undeniable mark on Hollywood's golden era, revealing the often harsh realities facing actresses who dared to sparkle in the spotlight. Diana Dors, Britain's answer to Marilyn. Diana Dors was touted as Britain's answer to Marilyn Monroe, becoming a certifiable pop culture icon, known for her sultry looks and bold public persona. She started her career early, signing with the British rank organization at just 15 and quickly making her way into the spotlight. Her business manager and husband, Dennis Hamilton, played a significant role in shaping her image, more focused on her sex appeal than her acting ability, which worked from a publicity standpoint, branding her as the English Marilyn Monroe or the Siren of Swindon. However, her career was far from smooth sailing. Hamilton's management caused serious problems, reportedly keeping her earnings and limiting her choice of roles, leading to a turbulent professional life. One of the most notorious moments in Dors's career was the publication of 3D semi-nude photos in 1954, which resulted in obscenity charges and plenty of tabloid headlines. Her move to Hollywood in 1956 seemed promising, with a 3-picture deal at RKO Pictures, but things quickly unraveled. A disastrous housewarming party, where Dors and her husband were pushed into a pool, ended with violent accusations and effectively stalled her American career. Rumors of affairs and a growing reputation only complicated her Sabrina, the British sensation. Sabrina, known mostly for her curvaceous silhouette and tight dresses, became a household name without significant acting roles. Her presence was magnetic, often swarmed by hundreds of adoring fans wherever she appeared. But what made her stand out wasn't her performances, but the mystery and allure that surrounded her, which captivated the Fernalisi, the Italian allure. Fernalisi began her career in 1953 when she was only 17. For the next few years, her film roles revolved around her sex appeal and mature appearance. She remained a staple of the Italian film industry for the next decade. After all of that hard work, in 1963, she was offered a role as Bond girl Tatiana Romanova in From Russia with Love, but turned it down. However, she did seem open to the idea of working with Hollywood. In 1965, she made her way to the States. Unable to mask her accent, she usually played Italian characters who were hypersexual seductresses with fiery tempers. While there was some overlap between these roles and the ones Marilyn Monroe had played before her passing, for the most part, Lizzie was considered too foreign to truly replace the very American Monroe. The comparisons effectively started and ended with their hair color. Just as she had in Italy, Lizzie switched between comedic and serious roles. There definitely weren't any questions about her acting abilities. Because of her bombshell look, Lizzie was offered the titular role of Barbarella, but declined to prevent herself from being typecast as a sex kitten, and Jane Fonda was cast instead. Although Lizzie made several films in America, she always made her way back to Italy, and by the 1970s, she had returned to the country permanently. She continued acting for the rest of her life, including an incredible performance in the 1994 film Lorraine Margot. She passed at the age of 78 from lung cancer. Anita Ekberg, the Scandinavian star. Anita Ekberg began her career in Sweden, and quickly rose to international fame with her unforgettable role in Federico Fellini's 1954 classic, La Dolce Vita, a film that forever cemented her place in cinema. Marilyn Monroe's blend of charm, vulnerability, and star power has never truly been duplicated. These 12 actresses each tried in their way to echo her light, but Hollywood's formula could never fully recreate the magic she embodied. Their stories reveal Hollywood's relentless search for a new icon and the human cost behind chasing such an impossible standard. Some embraced bold publicity stunts, others sought complex roles, yet none could match the unique combination of allure and authenticity that defined Marilyn. It's a stark reminder that fame is as much